everyone. It's been a hot second. I'm actually very excited because I know it doesn't look like it, but we are actually filming Talks with T in a different location because me and Carson moved. Woo! And ironically, I did do this on purpose. Kind of. I'm wearing a Berkeley sweatshirt because I feel like every time I move into a new apartment, it just brings back this like I don't know, like feeling of when I was moving in college because I moved like 3 different spots when I was in Boston. So I'm like, I don't know. This weekend I went to like my aunt's house and I like was in desperate need to do laundry and I was like, I don't want to wait. Can I just do it at yours? And so I did it and I felt like that alone was like felt like I was back in college. But I always say I switch it up. Today I'm gonna do a lot has happened. A lot is happening. But one little update if you are watching this, just so you know, I am going to be performing at the Mint LA November 15th. If you are in LA, come on down. This is my first show as of right now, my first show in LA. I'm so excited. Thank you, Kezia. She is amazing. She's my manager. Love you, girl. Anyways, so aside from that, I want to like kind of today I've had this topic on my heart and like mind for so long. And I think it's because of like TikTok. It's because of like all these things. And I was just like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about like, I don't want to say like cancel culture because it's really not just about that. That ties with it. But I think this like sprouted in my head of the idea of like, I started seeing a lot of people that I talk to or just like noticing things on social media where like there's like this like gratification, like I don't want to say gratification, but there's like this like energy of seeing someone lose that people just get like this excitement. I was just like, why? Or why are we I started like questioning like why do we not want someone to grow? Like I think it was I saw some TikToker, I think her name was Brooke. I don't know. But the topic of like, I guess she did something like years ago when she was literally like 16 years old. And this is like a repetitive thing that I'm constantly seeing. I was like, why do we want and like I get it, like people need to be held accountable, but I started seeing like there'd be like a video of her just like literally just like I don't know feeding her cat and they're like, how can you post this as if nothing happened? And I'm just like, bro, like let the girl, like the girl is literally just freaking like with her cat. And it brought to like that alone, like because that's what really like sparked it is I started seeing like this like repetitive thing of like people on the internet wanting to see people's downfalls and like it's almost as if like you've never done anything bad. Like, why are we so quick to judge? Why are we so quick? And then it started spiraling in my mind. I was like, there are people that I know that actually like enjoy seeing people's like failures. And I'm like, I've seen this one time is like the only people that have time to really hate on you and say things about you and watch your downfall and get this like high off your downfall are the people that are below you. Literally the people that are not like that are hiding behind or whether they're just like not like because who has the time really? I mean, even as I started getting older, like when I was younger, I'm gonna own up to it. Like I like there would be times where like certain people like I would be a hater and I'm like realizing now I'm like honestly I wish everyone the best, even the people that have like screwed me over, like God bless. Because you know what? I truly believe that I've come to the point where I'm like, God is so big and God is going to take care of it. Like, I just got to do me. Like, I got to like really focus on what it is that God wants for me because I started to realize like, I don't have time to like sit there and just be a hater. Like that's just like it's like the most cringiest thing for me. And I started seeing like this idea of like cancel culture. Like we're so like the most smallest thing. Like I'm like, whoa. And listen, I'm someone that has done things, said things like I've messed up in so many, like, I'm only 23. So I'm sitting there and I'm like I was watching like this idea of like, people just so quick to judge. And where do I tie this in is like people are going to, I've said this in the past, like people are going to say what they say, think what they think, and you really just got to grow to be the best version of who you are. And Carson actually has said this to me. Carson, we've set it up differently. He's hiding right now. So, but he said something to me that always he said this to me like months ago, and it really resonated with me because, I always talk about my vocal injury, especially when I moved to LA. I always was like, what are people going to think? Like, I'm not putting out things, even like this show. Like, this is my first show in LA. And I'm like, I was like, wow, yes, finally. But prior to that, I'm like, but what are people going to think? Like, if I don't do it, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I've said this many times. I've always been like someone who struggles with being a people pleaser or like having to have people know what I was doing and see that I'm doing enough. And he said something that was like, no one cares. And if they do, like, all you got to do is just care about what you're doing because it's your life and you got to do it. Like, you get up in the morning, you're going to be the one that's going to be like living that, but no one cares. Like, because you know what? They'll care for a moment and we're on to the next. And the only person that's stuck in that is you. And so that's why I was really big on like, I think everyone needs to be held accountable, but growth is such a beautiful thing and it's something that takes time. And I think where I find it's shocking is when I see people trying, because like there's a lot like, I don't know if y'all know Carl Lentz. If you're in the Christian community, Carl Lentz. That's another person that I was just like, why do we want his downfall? Like, why are we sitting there and we're like, screw you? And don't get me wrong, that man has traumatized a lot of people in the church. But I sit there and I'm like, if he's actually trying, so be it. Like, so be it. Like, let him, like, because at the end of the day, like, that's between him and God. Like, that's between, like, whatever you got to do. I definitely don't like when people are like hypocrites. That's annoying. I like if that's where you're like, that's like, I'm going to say that and that's a little annoying, but I'm just like, why do we want people to just like, okay, someone messes up and it's like, that's it. That's who they are now. That's it. And don't, like, I think when a person is genuinely trying and growing, like you can't just hold them to one thing. Like, if it's a repetitive pattern, that's a different story. That is literally a different story. People are going to be like, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And that's in every aspect of like, whenever someone is going, if someone wants to change for the better, you're going to see it. You're going to see that fruit being like, come into flourishment. Like, you'll see it. But when it's something that's a repetitive pattern, that's different. That's a whole different story. But I always say, like, you got to focus on what makes you grow and be the best version of yourself. And people are going to talk. Like, people are going to say, like, there's a thing of like, if you ask someone about me, probably like believe what they say, because like every person has a different like encounter with you. Like, that's just what it is. Also ask me though, because I'll just be honest about it. But I always, I'm like shocked by that because I'm someone that for a long time, even like wanting to be a singer, wanting to be in the entertainment industry, wanting to be in the spotlight, like my fear always was like, well, what if people think this? And I had to really sit there and be like, so be it. Okay. Like, all I can do is grow and be the best version of myself and be the best version of who I was created to be. And like, I'm constantly going. And again, like everybody's going to have a comment. It's like insane to me. Like, it's like insane that no matter you do something good, there's a negative comment. This happens, it's a negative, like there's no winning. And so from that on, you just got to do what is good for you. And the people that are really yapping their mouth, like I said, they really got they got time on their hands to be talking shit, because it's like, really, the people that are going to say things, especially the people that are saying things about your successes. First of all, if someone in your life is putting you down about a success, like a genuine success, remove them. Cut them out. Absolutely not. Because no matter what, you go through everything, and especially your success, like no one should take that away from you. And when you see that you're living this like life because of pleasing others, like it's going to eat you alive. And I'm constantly learning that. I'm constantly learning like, I don't need this person to do this. I don't need this to do this. And especially with like the music that I'm working on, there's a lot of, it's like really funny to me, like a lot of comments about certain things that like my whole life genuinely, because I like ballads. I love the sad. I love the Adele, the Amy Winehouse type vibe. Oh, but that's not trending. Like, I don't, like 3 years ago, I was like, oh, you're right. Like, let me change it up. And now I'm like, this is what I love. Like, this is what I love. And I believe when you love something and you're going towards something that is genuinely something that makes you happy and is building you, then so be it. Like, who cares what other people are going to sit there? Because it's going to, honestly, I truly believe that when you believe in something, everything else falls into place. You just got to follow that path. Like, not trying to get like really biblical here, but even in the Bible, it says it, like, follow my righteous path and everything else will fall into place. Like, that's so true, because when you're following what genuinely you believe in, like, everything else is going to fall into place. I actually got published by Voyage LA, shout out. And one of the questions they asked me that I genuinely was like, wow, like, I like that question. It's like, oh, do you think luck played a role in your successes and like your journey? And I was like, I don't believe in luck. I really don't. I believe in God. That's one thing. But I just believe that, you have to do everything that's in your control. And that's sometimes a mental thing too. You got to do what's in your control. Controlling is one of the things you got to control is who cares what people are going to think about you. Because that is not people's voices should not be the loudest in a room. It's going to drive you insane. And so I started seeing, like, on top of just like constantly following that and doing everything that I can, everything else was falling into place as well. God was opening doors for me, like doors that I had yet to even know that were going to be opened. And just like everything, like I sit here and I really just look back and I'm like, wow, like if someone talked me out of doing the things that I was going to do, that's insane. I look at, before going to LA, a lot of people had comments about that. A lot of people had comments about, oh, how are you going to do it? Do you have dental insurance? Like, do you have a job? Do you have dental insurance? Does the job have dental insurance? And I've said this in the past in my podcast. There came a point where I would just lie. Like, genuinely, I would just like, because I sat there and like, I was like, you're asking me the most bizarre questions, not understanding the plan that God has for me because you're not in it. And I was like, it was giving me so much anxiety because I was trying to please, and I was just like, screw it. Anything that anyone says, I'm just like, yeah. Because I knew in my gut what I had to do. And then I'm here now. I'm here. It's been a year in LA, and I'm honestly, like, it's a blessing. And there's so much things that's happened that has shaped me, is going to be something that I remember, that lessons were taught, trials were taught, like, done, and without that, like, I wouldn't be who I was. Instead, I don't know if they hear this, Carson, but instead of a dog, sometimes you might hear the city, because we be living in the city now, like in the midst of it. So if you hear that fire truck or ambulance, whatever that is, it ain't Zeus though. Zeus is long gone. He didn't die. We're just not below him anymore. Yeah. I wonder if he misses us, Carson. Anyway, so what I was saying was, I guess, like, for a long time, I think that was something in my heart that I was just like, I can't believe people really just sit there and like want you to fail. Like, I just can't, I don't understand that. I'm just like, okay. And then it was spiraling from just like the cancel culture. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, let's put P. Diddy. Like, that's who he is. That's it. Like, he's got to go. Like, that man's got to, no, he ain't changing anytime soon. It's like, no. But like other things, like, I see these like influencers just getting shitted on because they did something like 10 years ago, and they've like, And I'm like, all right, great. Like if this is like genuine, if they're genuinely trying and they're, why are we sitting here trying to ruin their lives right now? Like a consistent reminder, like why don't we want this person to grow? Because I promise you, whoever is shitting on them probably has also said whatever. Like unless you're freaking Virgin Mary, like it shocks me because I'm like, wow, I'm like, it's just insane because I see that it's something that I for a long time have constantly always said to myself is like, oh, well, what is this person gonna think? What is this like? What I, I did this. I did like the stupidest things when I was like, I'm only 23, but like Staten Islanders, y'all be knowing like it's just insane because I'm like, we have to understand that there's accountability and through that there's growth. The first step into fixing a problem is realizing that there is one. And when you realize that you're fixing it, like that is only growth from there. And so if you're watching, just remember like at the end of the day, like you can't change what people are going to say, what people are going to think, what people are going to do, how they talk about you. You could only really only focus on what you're doing and what brings you that joy, what brings you happiness, because at the end of the day, you're the one that is like you are in bed with your thoughts. So you got to make sure that what you are putting out for your life is genuine and helping you grow and allowing you to be the best version of yourself. That's all that's like the only thing that you should be worrying about. And I have to listen, like I'm not perfect. And I sit there and I have to remind myself that consistently, especially in this industry, because I am constantly going back and forth. There's like a devil and angel on my freaking shoulder where I'm like, oh, like, what do I do? How do I do this? Well, what is this person going to think? And I'm like, no, no. The greatest people didn't stop because of somebody else's comments, opinions, hate. They just kept freaking going. I mean, we can go biblical, we can go real. Like Noah looked crazy, but he built that ark and what happened? Everyone drowned. And then you have people like Adele was literally like cleaning toilets and then she became like the biggest star. And I sit there because that's another thing. Like I always was like, oh, I have to be social media is fake. Okay, that's another thing you gotta. Social media is fake. Everyone's putting out their best version on social media. I put out my best version on social media. Like, it's fake. I mean, that's why I want to come as honest as I am in these podcasts and even certain. But like, I have my moments where I'm like, oh my god, this looks disgusting. Like, oh my god, like, and you have to remember, like, you can't focus on that either because I've done that too. And I'm like, no, like. All you got to do is just focus on you, growing to what you want, to your goals, and no one else should stop you. Just keep doing it because people are going to say what they're going to say. I've had people, I find out, like, sit there really and, like, just, if that's what you want to do, that's great. But, yeah. So I wanted to share that. It was, like, a little personal, like a little heart to heart. But yes, big things are coming now. If you're in LA, some shows are coming up. One of them, November 15th, I'll be posting it. I haven't posted about it yet. And I'm really excited. Carson will be playing drums. It's bestie right there. And yeah, so thank you so much. I think now it's been a little hectic, a lot of moving, working. It's been intense, but all thankful and blessed. But I'm really happy. But now we're gonna come back to our weekly podcast. We took I wasn't consistent, but that's okay. Like life happens too. So I'm looking forward to continuing. So thank you for watching Talks with T. Till next week.